Today on the bench, we are joined with David Dragseth, Lutheran pastor and CEO of Superior Saunas. Let's consider for a moment the Venn diagram overlap of A, Lutheran pastors, and B, sauna business CEOs. To my knowledge, the overlap is a body of one, David Dragseth. Also of note, if we consider the Venn diagram overlap of A, Lutheran pastors, and B, guests to the Sauna Talk podcast, well, I'm happy to report that David Dragseth is joined with Lutheran pastor David Pearson several years ago. For those looking for some good spiritual sauna continuity, I encourage you to have a listen to both of these podcast episodes. David and I were together on my Minneapolis sauna bench recently. We enjoyed sauna and then communing in urban nature, relaxing between rounds on my sauna deck with the outdoor shower and cold plunge adjacent. A wood-burning sauna and a sauna deck in the rain are perfect backdrops for me to have David expand upon some of his Venn diagram overlap of religion and sauna. Sauna as a religion. You could say that if Jesus grew up in a Nordic country, he may have been a sauna builder. We will never know, but what we do know is that David and I are both sauna builders, which is just the beginning of our Venn diagram overlap. David fell naturally into the world of sauna building and the sauna business. In this episode, we learn about David's sabbatical to Finland and being impressed and influenced by the Finnish confirmation camps for youth in the native Finland. Could there be a place in North America for similar camps? We talk about one of his favorite subjects, the spiritual connection of sauna, as both a noun and a verb. We talk about his business, Superior Saunas, how it came into his life, and how it is a big part of his life. Without further ramblings, please welcome David Dragseth to Sauna Talk. This show is brought to you by Viking Floating Saunas. The floating sauna revolution is being televised, and no more so than aboard a Viking Floating Sauna. A collaboration between Sauna Times, Prairie Wood Sauna Company, and Flagship Pontoons, Viking Floating Saunas are being launched right now, serving the North America floating sauna enthusiast in you. I've experienced floating saunas all over Northern Europe, and whether your cabin has vertical hardship or pain-in-the-ass setback requirements, or you have the early adopter vision to expand the joy of thermal goodness 3 steps off your dock, Viking Floating Sauna is your answer. Viking Floating Saunas don't mess around. They know how to build quality, stable pontoons, and they know about weight dispersal, Coast Guard regulations, and how to turn a rainy day at the cabin into a family reunion of smiles and euphoria. Ask anyone from age 2 to 92. 3 steps off your sauna bench and a plunge into a cold lake may be about the best idea you've ever heard. For more on Viking Floating Saunas, visit saunatimes.com and read about the floating sauna revolution. It's here, it's now, and I'm excited to help make it happen for you. Yeah, a friend of mine, David, he's coined this term, spiritual patina.
It
and
does.
Old saunas,
They have a patina. They really do.
Yeah.
Like my first, just walking into this one, this is like the, have you ever been to ABR? It's a ski resort up by Hurley. It's a Nordic ski place.
Heard of it. Have not been.
Finns. It's really popular, super famous with Nordic skiers. That, they have this, and it's got the same kind of patina on the wood. And
they have multiple hot rooms there, don't they? Multiple sound.
They do.
Yeah.
Like out and about, and then you can rent the main one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's luxurious.
Yeah. So welcome. It's great to have you into this sauna. This sauna is, as I mentioned to you, I built in 2003, and there's a lot of soul in this sauna. A lot of sauna talks have been had. Others have sat right where you are, and thanks for being a part of Sauna Talk, David.
Yeah, it's a privilege to be here. And oh, it was a cold day. I need my bones to get warm.
And when you woke this morning and you knew it was a sauna day, I mean, did you have a little bit of radiant warmth as your day went on? And knowing yeah.
I mean, like time is, I mean, we all live in many different times, right? And that's, I think, one of the things I love about sauna is that you can wake up in the day and you know it's coming, and it actually makes you warmer in that moment. And then you feel the feel of it, the presence of it later on when you go to bed at night. And then it just stays with you. And so that it just messes with your notion of temporal reality.
Amen, man. And that reminds me of a question. I have a question I ask all guests to Sauna Talk, is when you wake up in the morning and you know it's a day that you're going to sauna, what is your favorite part? And I ask from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, just like you said. And it's a trick question because sometimes I get answers like when I go to bed at night. Yeah. It isn't like, at the end of the first round or the first lolu or whatever. It's because the sauna is a whole day affair, isn't it?
Well, today, I mean, we're in Minnesota now, and we were working all day, and it is cold. It's just a cold day, and it's the kind of cold you get with high humidity, high moisture outside, and it's the end of April, and all of us want it to be spring, and it's not here, and so it's so easy to just rebel against a day like this.
Yeah.
But I could actually enjoy the day because I'm like, it's a perfect sauna day.
Amen, brother.
Perfect.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Tell listeners, David, about your background. Like growing up, you're no stranger to sauna. Yeah. Like when did sauna first come into your life? And tell us a little bit about that story.
So I grew up in the Twin Cities. Both my parents were educators, and when I was about 6, they decided they were going to buy a cabin. So they bought a cabin up near on Long Lake, up sort of northwestern Wisconsin, a little bit by Danbury, between Danbury and Hayward. At any rate, we went there for several years, started doing renovation, and about a couple years into that, my dad, who is, he's like a 70s educator, completely embraced the bell bottoms and the beard and the flask of wine that you have when you're skiing.
Sounds like my dad. Yeah, my dad was a principal, and your dad was the commissioner? Or?
My dad was the superintendent. I mean, what he's famous for, I guess, being superintendent of schools at Edina Public Schools. But my mom, too, is an educator. She was a librarian administrator at Eisenhower Elementary in Hopkins, and so that's what we do. I mean, we grew up with education culture. And,
similar. So summers were cabin time.
Summers were education, and then you put it to rest, and you went and you traveled, and summer at the cabin. So they decided to build a sauna. My dad did along the way, but it took a while to just get it done right, like it does for all of us. He dreamed about it, talked about it. But when I was a teenager, I was like 12, 13, he decided to build it. And so he didn't have any real education about it. I mean, he'd grown up in the plains of South Dakota, farmer, but he wanted to make it right. And so he went and bought cedar, because that's what you used, and he set it on the side of the hill, the cabin is, built these huge sort of cedar planks, and I have this vision of my dad teaching me to build with a sauna. And there's this one day, it was hot, it was steamy outside, middle of summer. My dad's there in his 70s, trying to cut off jeans, super tight, cut off jeans, and he's taking his shirt off, and he's got this beard and sunglasses. He's in bare feet, and he's got a skill saw in his hand, and he's like, and there's this, the sun was coming down, and there's this one image where he's trying to get the skill saw through this big cedar board, and the thing is kicking back, and he's and he just starts swearing. He's curse, and I remember looking at him oh my God, I'm scared of my dad. My dad's powerful, animal. Who is my dad? I mean, the classic teenage thing and it was held in the sauna. And like, so in that moment, I loved him. He's an amazing dad, but I also sensed his power. And so we made this thing together. And then, for years, I mean, that was, 40 years ago. And all the way up until, and this is another story, but all the way up until pandemic, I mean, that was the family sauna.
Is that sauna still in the family?
It is. And again, 2 years ago, I renovated the whole thing. Partly because, the thing was falling into the hill. There was some stuff that we did when we were new sauna builders that, we would have done differently later on. The cedar was perfect, but it was a little bit stupid. We bought these like 1x12 cedar board.
That was a common species back then.
I mean, you can't get it now.
No.
The board is beautiful, but I mean, just gapping, everything. I mean, it ended up with these like half-inch gaps, and you can look through and see. And my dad just put like, they used to just put plastic and then fiberglass, and you could see through it. And, we didn't change it all these years because.
So what did you do with the 1x12 cedar?
Well, that's. So
don't tell me you burned it.
No.
Okay.
So here's the. Well, but in a way, like, whatever. All of us have our pandemic sorrow stories, and I was fast forward many years. Pastor of a big church in Milwaukee, and holding a lot of death and a lot of difficulty, and then holding a lot of personal struggle too. And I was leading the congregation, and I needed to, and I wanted to. We were all digital, so I was like, well, where am I going to go? Like, so I just took refuge that first April as we shut down. Went up to the cabin and led, everything digital, talked to people, preached sermons and everything, all from there. But as we were there, the sauna broke. That we had an electric heater. It's a complicated story. I had to replace it several times, and this time not just the electric, but the electrical system broke, and it wasn't really safe anymore. So I had to tear it apart and you realize the floor, and it was degrading. And finally, I'm just like, look, I'm a sauna builder now. I do this professionally. Like, this has got to be done over, and then it's got to be done over right, and then it's my home sauna. Like, it's got to be perfect. It just started
building, right? Building in the sense of the project built.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. I've been there. So it turned out like that. This is like a domino effect, right?
It really, isn't everything in life?
Yeah, right on, man.
But these boards, they held joy and sorrow, stories. Like, there's no way I could get rid of the board. And I'm like, I love these cedar boards, and they're all gnarled and got holes in them, they're cracked. So we decided to do the Shishugiban sort of burn technique to give them a uniformity of look, but also to keep that like deep rustic. And we did a couple burn on them, and the burn seemed theologically, spiritually appropriate too, because it's like, this is old but new. And so a good friend and I just took these blowtorch and just started burning, and you had the oil and burn to do it right. There's a whole technique. That was therapeutic too with the
during COVID. This is in the thick of it, like 2020.
2020, everything is shut down.
Yeah.
Look, all of us remember, but just to force some perspective, like, a lot of us didn't know if we were going to live or die. It was that elemental
and uncertain.
And I had buried a number of people at the church digitally who died during COVID. And I knew a lot of people who died during COVID, and so I don't know, and it, and a lot was dying, personally for me. I was going through a divorce, and it was just awful. So just burning. It's what I needed, and there's something redemptive about that, and I don't know, but being able to claim the boards and yet give them new life was really powerful. And so we did that. Nice. There's another really interesting kind of build story with that. I wanted to orient the sauna. I call it the solstice sauna because we oriented it so that it would, the sun would set over the center stove on the solstice, summer solstice, and it's a beautiful west facing. Put huge windows in to overlook the lake, and the old sauna was very closed, and I wanted to open it up and have light. So we put big windows in the front, oriented it, but then with the Shishugiban, like you're in there and it's dark, and there's beautiful accent cedar benching, but it's still dark, and like it's like the night sky, like in the massive windows, like with the sunlight, like it felt like you were sort of on a boat, kind of, but it felt like you were on a boat, like when you're fishing out in the middle of the night, like night fishing. And so I was like, yeah, we should have stars in the ceiling, like, and so with this new technology with fiber optic light, they have all these pin lights, and I'm like, we should put that in the ceiling. That would be. Well, but then when you start down a journey, like you're like, okay, I have 100 tiny fiber optic dots of light. I'm like, well, what am I going to make it? Like, well, obviously it has to be the stars. Well, then what constellations? Like, do I get to choose the constellations? Like, am I God, like, mapping the stars? Yeah. Like, and I'm like, I can't do that. Like, right. So I pitched it to my son, who was he was in college and going through his own pandemic struggles at the time, and I'm like, Luke, just pick a day and give me a map of stars. It took about 2 weeks. He wrote back just a little scratch pad piece of paper, and I got it on text, and I just started getting to work building. So mapped it out, drilled all the tiny little holes, figured out the geometric kind of orientation so you could flip it. I figured out how to build such that the stars would be accurate, and because it was aligned, it had to align with the lake and the actual stars too. Fantastic. So like this super mind-numbing detail work. But my friend Seth and I just were like, we're going to do this.
You were committed to it.
We were committed. It took a long time. We did it. We put the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Drilled all the board, got all the stuff, plugged it in, and I sat there and I looked, and I'm like, oh my God, like, it's the stars. Like, yeah. They're shimmering in this blackened wood
when
ceiling.
You flipped it on, was there a moment, like, was this like, we got it, we did it right? Like this moment of pride?
So there was. I mean, obviously, like, it looks killer and amazing. But then, like, it was weird. Like, I didn't, it's like with so many things in life, like, I didn't realize what was happening as I was doing it. But when I got all done, I realized, like, I never really asked him what day he chose. Because, if you map out the stars, like, you have to pick a specific day. Like, you have, like, it's date and year calibrated. And so I was like, so I call him up, and I'm like, Luke, so I just made this. Like, what day is it? Thinking, whatever, his birthday, or I don't know, whatever. He's like, Dad, I chose the Saturday night after the Birkebeiner ski race when you're 70. Huh. And I'm like, I both, like, loved him and hated him in that moment, because I'm like, you just threw down, like, the ultimate, like, dad challenge.
That's it, man. And, I know.
And belief, and, like, am I still going to be going?
Yeah.
20 years from now.
Because the context was, this is COVID, and you're burying some of your parishioners.
And myself.
There's a doom and gloom going.
And my family, and my relationship with my children, and like, will we survive?
Yeah.
Like, and obviously, just to mitigate it, like, obviously, a lot of us push that aside, and we're not thinking that way. Like, we were like, no, it's fine. Like, I'm young, and but we were also thinking that way. And he chose this playful builder, just, you put it in the stars kind of house.
Beautiful story.
Yeah, so he's a good kid.
Yeah, what a great, and so that was it. Every time you're in the sauna now,
Yeah,
you
well-
know your goal. Your
Well,
at least
well,
age 70
Right,
goal.
like I know that I'm loved, but it's also like, get your ass off that bench and like trade, Dad.
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
are you gonna be a lard ass? Are you
Well,
gonna,
yeah, I mean, and to think he chose it, I think he chose a date in the future. I mean, that's quite profound. I'm not so sure I would have picked a day in the future. Maybe it would have been a day in the past, right? Like you say, a birthday or...
Right.
Good on him, man. Great story.
Yeah, he's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good sauna. It's a sauna that's kind of reburned and rebirthed.
Yeah, it really is. And
Cool.
It's not done, which is hard because, I'm building everyone else's sauna nowadays.
Of course.
And
Well, look at this sauna. This has got like a lot of faux pas in it. I just, if anyone would see the failures of my setback to combustibles, I'd probably get reprimanded. But this is on a side. People ask me a lot. They say, okay, they're rightfully really worked up about building to code and this and that, and and their insurance man, and I just answered this the other day. It's like, okay, well, when I light up my sauna, I'm here. Now, I'm so comfortable with this that I will go for a bike ride, potentially. But usually Julie is around and stuff.
Right.
A fire extinguisher is within 5 feet.
Right.
So this isn't like some hidden appliance that may, sneak up on us. We're around our saunas when they're happening. So I feel safe in that regard.
I've heard you speak about it so many times that I just want to commend you for it. That's the substance of organic architecture. I had this thing in church a lot. We had the exterior of our church was sandstone. Everyone was pissed about it. They're like, it's degrading all the time. This sucks. Our church is going to crumble down. They should have sprayed, resin all over the stone to hold it so you'd never have to think of it again. Why didn't they build it? And you're like, you moron. The people that built this church 100 years ago, they built it out of sandstone because it would need a dedicated group of builders to care for it and tend it every day. And they knew that the most important thing was the flesh of people. We're not builders to keep us away from devices or buildings. We're builders that are supposed to invite us deeper into devices and buildings. And so they knew that. And this sauna needs you.
Ah, beautiful.
Right?
great.
That's what it...
Yeah, I love that.
Why would you build any different?
Yeah, well, I think, as sauna becomes more popular, and I don't know if we've had this chat directly, but I think we talked a little bit about this, as this becomes more popular and stuff, there becomes this school of philosophy of pedantic talking and making everything perfect, and you can reduce this to what's right and what's wrong. It drives me bananas. It makes my job more difficult as a sauna evangelist. Man, it's not that, we don't have to get wrapped up in this kind of stuff.
Well, just think of what, I get it. And so you wanna bless the yearning for perfection that is. But if you ever lose sight of, the resonant capacity of a space to not just give us sound, but to elicit the sound from us. The capacity to fire in us the need to be there, to participate and to love it, and to if you just build that out of the system, you're building yourself out of the system.
Yeah.
And you're just and hence the modern crisis. That's what so many of us feel. I think about that a lot. Like electric sauna heaters are and Wi-Fi controllers are really an interesting example of that, because in one sense, the market is giving us this wonderful capacity on our cell phones to turn on our sauna from the trail, and to be at work and to check the temperature of our sauna. And what you realize, what's lost is the stoking of the fire, the chopping of the wood. Is it the same to turn a dial on an app as it is to... And I've often thought, look, it's bad when it's just an electric and you push the button. But it's kind of good when this stupid fetish of a cell phone thing, instead of it being to check our, friend status, becomes this kind of weird, like, obsession of, how's my sauna doing at home? I'm going to turn this on now so that it's ready when my friends come over, and then I'm going to check the metric and see how I did. It's not all, it has to be managed, but it's not all bad.
Agreed. I love that.
There's a kind of...
Very observant. Yes, so there's a relationship you can have to your sauna through your app. If
held elegantly, right? It can be abused, like anything. But I think a sophisticated understanding about that, it just helps. I think it helps sauna continue to be what we want it to be, this immersive, engaging ritual,
Lovely.
Yeah.
So,
it's good heat.
Superior sauna.
Heat.
When you feel good heat, it's all over.
It really, you've used so many terms about it, like this velvety and wrapping, like the awareness of wood and stone heat versus metal and electric heat, and how to
So this line, when you feel good heat, it's all over. It's like this trio, it's all over our bodies. We know that, like this complete enveloping heat. But also, as people are searching, right? Like when you feel good heat, it means your search is over. You found it. You've reached this sauna mecca, right?
Yeah, but like St. Augustine said, our souls are restless, O God, until they rest in you. And when I was young, I think I always thought it was, our souls are restless until they rest in God, because that's what a good Lutheran pietist believes. You have to. And then as I got older and as I studied Augustine more, you realize he might have been referring to the person right in front of him. Mm-hmm. He might have been referring to the tree or the building. Our souls are restless until they have a companion or another. And then all of a sudden, not so restless.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's just great comparative. Yeah. The third about when you feel good heat, it's all over, is this moment in your day, right? You talk about being chilled and in this physical space of I'm cold. And then when you feel that good heat, your stress of the day, your chill of the day, your relationship to that climate is over. Right? It's your new connection.
Absolutely. What once was hostile and maybe prickly, is now embracing.
And we got there, right? We're there in round one. We've gotten to it's all fantastic. There was another David skipping along. We're doing fine. I'm going to throw another Lolo anytime you want to cool down. We have a variable plethora of cool down for you. The shower you saw, the cold plunge tank.
Engage all.
For those listening, David framed it up. It's a perfect sauna day in Minneapolis. It's been rainy all day. Low 40s, would you say? High 30s?
Yeah, and almost still snowflakes in the morning when we woke up.
Yeah.
And, if you look hard, you'll see the ice crusted on things. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a couple stories you wanted to share. I hope your sauna build was one of them.
Yeah, that was
okay.
Yeah.
Was another one? Is another one Finland and in the camps in Finland? Because I'd love to touch on that, but I want to open the. It's funny, you guys listening is Sauna Talk. Most of you listening, and I actually put more structure to this episode than most, and I realized how silly that was because David is no stranger to speaking as a Lutheran pastor for many years. So instead of asking you a question, tell me another of your stories that you'd like listeners to hear.
Well, part of the journey of spirituality and holding that part of our common culture was the blessing, being a pastor, of getting to go on sabbatical. So, in sabbatical, it's a wonderful thing. Every vocation should have it, and we should advocate for it strongly in our own jobs. But in the Lutheran Church, every 7 years for 3 months, you get off with pay, and you can do whatever you want. So I took several sabbaticals, but the most recent one is in 2019, before pandemic, and I wanted to study secular spirituality. So spirituality outside the church. How are we as humans taking some of these awesome historic lessons, but using them in different ways? Mm-hmm. And so one of the things I was really intrigued about was Finland and confirmation camp. I got on it because we had a Norwegian exchange student, Anna, who lived at our house, and I was taking my kids to confirmation one day or teaching it, and she was like, "Oh, I've done that," and I was like, "I had no idea you went to church." She's like, "Oh, well, I went to secular confirmation camp," and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
Secular confirmation?" She's like, "Yeah, we did it. Like, we went out in the woods and we, talked about liking each other and caring for humanity and doing the right thing and having meaning and purpose in our life, and that was secular confirmation camp." And I'm like, that sounds a lot like real confirmation. Without the God, but God was there. Do we always have to name God? Does God care if we name God's name all the time, or could there be other ways that God shows up without God's name? And so in Finland, and this comes to Sauna, they have this amazing tradition of camp in the summer for youth. And there's some insane statistic, like 90%, maybe as much as 97% of Finnish youth go to camp in these venues. And there's secular confirmation, there is regular confirmation, but the center point of all of it, obviously culturally, is the sauna and a massive public saunas for all these kids. And so I went to visit one of them.
And just to frame it up, this is a certain age for the Finnish youth, like confirmation age.
It's
early teens?
Yeah, for them it's roughly high school.
High school.
Yeah, what we would say is high school. And it's immersive. I mean, you go away for a month or 2 weeks. Adults from the community come, but there's also just run. I mean, they're very much like our, upper Midwestern version of summer camp.
Yes, but church summer camp or not church summer camp?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
The Finnish church decided a long time ago that obviously they're a church, but they would hold this modern controversy lightly. They would welcome everyone, they would put everyone through an experience, and they would focus on what's elemental, not the words put on it. And as such, I mean, they were following a centuries-old tradition in the Nordic countries of believing that Christ was truly present when Christ gave up religion and embraced humanity. So, human first, then religious is, Nikolai Grundtvig is a very famous Danish Lutheran theologian, but that was his mantra. And so, like, for example, his churches would be, they would have a forest grove up front instead of a cross.
Right.
They would have a completely open assembly to people of all faiths, because Christ can show up in any different tradition. And they're nuanced about not being like co-optive religious, where you just say that, but really you're trying to convert everyone. Mm-hmm. Like, there's something much deeper. They're not into just winning people to Christ. Mm-hmm. They're into setting the platform. But the camps are a part of that, and what they do is, like, they're just amazing. Like, huge saunas, like 60-person public saunas, like boys and girls side, like and mixing it outside, and
yep.
and then like a massive fireplace in the center with mm-hmm. like dozens of tables, mm-hmm. relaxing chairs, and these huge docks, and mm-hmm. so these hordes of kids will go in the sauna, run down, jump in the lake, come up, and then they sit, as you do, hot, cold, relax in between.
Yeah.
And they just sit in between. And there they talk. And that's the spiritual time. That's where they show up for each other, and that's where, if they're religious, they invite God to come in. If they're humanist,
that's where they seek a deeper listening and understanding.
Beautiful, beautiful. So this was the summer of 2019 for you?
2019.
Okay. And did you visit multiple camps, confirmation camps? Or?
I did. Like, there's a lot of them. I focused on a couple in central Finland, the Lakes District. If you ever had a chance to go there, it's just, I know you've been, but for our listeners, like, it's just magical because there are so many lakes. Yeah. You can go on a boat for thousands of miles. Yeah. There are medieval fortresses built on northern lakes, marking the delineation between Russia and Finland, and you can still see these, these relics. And so it's immersive. But I think what it did for me is it really opened up yet again the power of sauna. Like, that was what remained.
Yeah, beautiful.
Everything else went away.
So we cooled down.
We did. I got really cold. I'm shivering now. Let's go.
And that's a good feeling, We talk.
I love it.
Yeah, man. We talk about the rubber band theory, and it's funny. These health optimizers are picking up on this with brown fat, and we grew up with this stuff. You want to get your body completely cooled down.
Yeah.
It makes sense. So the Finland church camp is really special, and that had to be a sabbatical that was formative for you because you came back and bought a sauna business out of this deal, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to share with listeners a little bit about how that came about? We're very curious about your...
Yeah, I was a Lutheran pastor. I mean, I still am. I was ordained in 97, and so a long time, and I loved it. My main love was at this church, Lake Park Lutheran in Milwaukee, down on the east side by the university, close to Lake Michigan.
Oh yeah. Make some steam.
I would love it. And it was a redevelopment church, so we just a bunch of amazing people. We just went and took an old, beautiful church and just tried to give it new life, and it happened. Raised my family there, and they were loving of it. I have 3 kids.
How old are your kids now, dude?
So they're Luke's a senior in college down at Gustavus, and Phoebe is a junior in college out at Brown University, and Hope is a junior in high school.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, wonderful. I have several great sauna stories about the kids growing up.
Me too.
But the church, it was 22 years at this congregation, and I got to a point where I was like, I knew that they needed to move on and do things, and I knew that I needed, to move and change. But when I thought of going to another church, I just couldn't imagine it. I was like, this is a relationship, and to start over with a new relationship with new people, it's just... And all along the way, I had used sauna as a device for taking the kids on youth trips and showing them the sauna and eliciting conversation. I had done, groups from the congregation over to my home sauna, and we'd sat and talked, and I'd had countless members of the congregation, like there talking. I mean, I met so many people and used sauna, and I didn't necessarily think about it, but it was such a deep part. And along the way, I had started building them for people, and I had even it evolved into a custom kind of business. I mean, eventually, you've done this, Glenn. You help people build so many saunas, and eventually realize you have to get a permit sometimes, and you need to have insurance. And so I started a small sauna business of custom sauna building, and all of that became a spiritual journey on its own. And so it's a longer business story, but there was a lot of opportunity of importing kind of sauna product that I got involved in. And that got me connected with
It's a really great business up in Ashland, Wisconsin called Superior Sauna. Chuck Porter had founded the company many years ago. He built up a great team over time. They had done amazing sauna kits. And so he got to a point where he wanted to retire and was looking, to sell the business, and just approached, me and my good friend Seth. Got a group of investors together because I didn't have, lots of money, millions of dollars to buy a, commercial sauna company. And so, but luckily, if you're graced in life, you have friends, and those friends know how to do things that you don't. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know how to, be an investment banker and raise a capital investment and get a bunch of funds, but I had friends who did, and I listened to them, and it took a while, but over time we raised money and bought it, which. Mm-hmm. Now I'm a year into it.
Yeah. Is it 1 year?
a little crazy, yeah. but I mean, why the hell not? Like, yeah. I mean, that's some. I guess here's the business side that you and I have talked about a lot. I got frustrated as a small custom builder that the larger commercial endeavor of what's happening to the U.S. in the U.S. of sauna right now. There's some wild statistics about sauna industry, but one is that it's going to grow tenfold in the next 10 years in the U.S. and someone's going to make money off of that, and so that attracts a bunch of people who are very into the economics and commodification of ritual and a product. A lot like many things that America has taken and commodified, made a hell of a lot of money off of.
Yoga.
Yeah, yoga. I mean, it's a perfect example of a ritual and a culture with an amazing long spiritual tradition that was commodified. And there are amazing examples of gifting through American commodification, but we all know that there are amazing tragedies of people just using it to make a buck and then destroying it. Well, I realized that commercial, the custom sauna builders and custom sauna sellers and everything needed some kind of larger shielding from that massive force of American commodification. I mean, they needed, and not that, I realized I couldn't do it alone. And so if I worked and you worked and others worked together, we needed a little bit larger organization that could have leverage to be able to grow in such a way that could maintain what was essential in sauna. And it took a little bit of real politique, a little bit of crafty wisdom about how to not let it just get stolen, but also how to recognize that economic forces can be used to gift and allow for the broader use of sauna by the larger culture. Look, and none of us are going to do it perfectly, and I'm going to get corrupted, and you will get corrupted just as much as anyone. Like, sin prevails, as I know as a theologian, but also as a Lutheran theologian, freaking sin boldly. Like, if you're going to do it, like don't run away from that challenge. Embrace it. Use your courage, use your craftiness, your wisdom, and create sacred space. And so, look, we may fail miserably together, but God, like, it deserves someone to try to do this right.
Beautiful.
And I just do it with me. I mean, I think we can, and it can be an invitational together thing, not a cutthroat, like I'm just going to make a hell of a lot of money at your expense thing. And those who think that way, we together can just
blissfully moved by them.
Beautiful.
Right?
Right on.
Everybody can do what they want to do, but we're going to do it this way.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And good will prevail.
Look, and if not, we'll smile and kind of laugh as someone else does it a different way.
Yeah.
But if you want to do it this way, we're here. Mm-hmm. And we're large enough to not get swallowed up.
Yeah.
And I just... Yeah.
Very noble. I commend that, and I applaud that spirit on so many levels, David. I mean, I don't even know where to begin to share my common thoughts with you about this. And, ultimately, as something becomes more popular, you get all of these other factions from it. And, let's just make and... Yeah, isn't that right? Great scene. And that's the essence of sauna, right there. Yeah. So we do our thing, and we provide good sauna for people, and let other chips fall where they may.
Right.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, you're not alone. You're not alone in your spirit. You're not alone in your mission. I'm really overjoyed to be collaborating with you and be a part of this with you, because we share this value, this beautiful thing called sauna, and we want to bring it to others.
Yeah.
It's, to me, good sauna is like a candle that lights another candle.
It really is. And so already, like, I've been so privileged. Like, my team, like, as I said, like Erica and Casey and Matt and Josh's and, the builders, and these were amazing workers and builders at the company itself, but then, Justice and Shaylin and you, Glenn, and John, and my dear friend Seth, like we together, it's just so much fun to be with a gifted, deeply skilled team that can help sort of put together and then invite many others on the journey.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's sort of like, it's hard to row a boat alone, right? But you get a bunch of oars in the water moving in the same direction. It's a little more fun, isn't it?
Pulling out my rowing days. It's good. Right.
Yeah, it's true. We touched on this on the U.S. sauna industry, pre, during, post-COVID, and have you seen things pull back a little bit since COVID's subsided, where maybe these stimulus checks are gone, the economy's certainly in flux, or is this trajectory like you alluded to, where some are predicting a tenfold increase in sauna, this business? What's the temperature of the pulse for you in Superior and what you're seeing in the market?
Yeah, it's not holding. It's not pulled back. It's expanded and changed. So individual residential sauna was strong during the pandemic. Now we're seeing the advent of public commercial sauna, resort sauna. We might. I think it's super important. It's one of our main missions as a company that sauna is multicultural. It's for the entire world. There are phenomenal traditions from other parts of the world that can teach us, especially as northern Midwesterners.
Yeah.
An amazing part about sauna. Sauna, the word, is Finnish, and we love and respect that amazing tradition. But it's one tradition among thousands globally. And you've done such a great job, Glenn, of being able to remind us of that. But it's that way commercially too. I love to tell the story that, so maybe, sauna is slowing down in certain parts of the country, but like in California, in North Carolina, in Texas, Oklahoma, there's lots of sauna. We sell lots and lots of saunas down there, and so it's accelerating, if anything, but that's also the challenge.
Yeah.
It's really, I have a lot of specific examples, but it's hard. There's all these amazing brands out there, and so we carry a lot of them, and
continue to investigate, because there's just such amazing stories in each of these historic brands in the U.S., but also the new ones. I don't want to start naming them all because I'll forget one. But each one of them is contributing a new dynamic to the U.S. sauna market. Most notably, the advent of public sauna, meaning larger venues of event sauna, and the advent in the sauna stoves of these high rock capacity, heavy steam, heavy moderate regulated temperature sauna, and then the introduction of Wi-Fi and technology, which you have to be careful of it, like I named before, but it is changing the industry. And wood-fired sauna is going through the same technological renovation as electric sauna. Like there's avenues in both, which are super exciting.
Totally. Yeah. I love that. It's almost like the demand of the product is pushing for innovation, in design and function,
and we are gifted with many companies bringing over new technology. So one of the big things that, like the average temperature in sauna in the U.S. now has been dislodged.
Yeah.
So this notion that 170 degree or 150 degree sauna was it. Like now, 190, 200. Like I want to get my sauna to 230. Like these are standard temperatures now.
Exactly.
Whereas our industry in the U.S. did not function in that land before. And that just means everything has changed. Like your lighting, the wood and its expansion, contraction, the clearances, the chimney, like all that stuff has to be redone now.
Yeah, true.
Because you get that much more capacity.
Not to get too nerdy about heat.
No, it's okay.
But I find it really great how a lot of people are becoming more educated on what heat really is, and this whole idea of I call it the jazz trio of heat transfer, the radiant, conductive, convective, and people have this appetite to learn about that, and with that education comes like the climbing the ladder, the quality ladder from a toaster oven on the wall to something that actually, we can sit in here at 160, 170 and be cooked to the core.
Correct.
Whereas in the old days, maybe at 160, 170, you need to reach for a spring jacket at a health club.
Right.
So
right.
It's becoming. It's like, think about it like wood-fired pizza, right? Like, so enough people went to Italy, Naples, Amalfi Coast, and they brought this back, and they want it for themselves, right? Yeah. And so the quality of a wood-fired pizza has quadrupled, in the last X years. Right. I think we're seeing that with sauna. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just, it's funny because, some of the hottest brands of home pizza ovens are competing with some of the hottest brands of sauna stoves now. Like, they're vying for market capital.
Yeah.
But look, it's just what it's doing is it's drawing us deeper into the complexity of what thermoculture or like heat, cold, in between, like that does to us. And there are some specific stoves that just embrace that. And when you're a customer, if you haven't experienced that depth of experience, and all of a sudden you come in, and again, I won't name the brands, but if you experience a certain stove versus another stove, you're like, oh my, this is a world difference.
Yeah.
And it really takes the education, what you've done, but for us as like salespeople, it really takes a kind of, hey, we want to be responsive to what you want, but let's have it be a dialogue. Please listen to us, because we've experienced some stuff too. And if we talk together and we can share that back and forth, you'll have an amazing sauna that you never realized was possible.
Exactly.
Right?
When you think about hot tubs, right? Like, how complicated is it to heat water and to run a little pump there and spin it around, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's some hot tub enthusiasts who could tell us, like,
that's right.
And they probably have their physics too, so I don't want to knock that.
No.
It's just great. I know sauna. I love it. And let me show you the freaking best sauna you can have. And you'll be blown away. Mm-hmm. You're blown away by it.
Amen, brother. Really great. David, it's so great to have you on Sauna Talk. I'm not trying to close down our chat. Is there another story? You were earmarking a couple of stories.
I was.
You're a great storyteller. So, we're talking about good heat, the what it means, that commonness. We're both proponents of it and evangelists of it, and not just say, hey, come on over to my sauna and isn't this great, but we're in the business, I guess you could say. You certainly more heavily. I'm in the, I don't know what business I'm in. I mean, we were going to speak.
You're the pastor now, Glenn.
Yeah.
You're the televangelist.
Yeah,
I'm the crafty, businessman now. You have to bring out the soul in me.
Okay, well, you're going to advise me on how to be the sauna evangelist a little bit more, because, we were going to chat on this a little bit off microphone, but I think there's a parallel to what we're doing. I mean, I was a corporate soldier for 20 years for Nestle, and I never, ever wanted, I had a firewall up between trying to, quote unquote, monetize. I never wanted to make a buck in this space because it's so pure for me. I know. And so now my career in the food industry, by choice, is scaling way down. And there's some fruit on the trees that people have been advising me, like, look, you're so stupid. Why do you give away all of your time, to help others? I said, well, to me, it's a candlelight, it's another candle. It's all good stuff. Well, you should get paid for it. My mother, you should get paid for this.
Well, it's just not. It doesn't have to be oppositional. Look, America suffers from polarization and from this toxicity of believing it has to be one way or another.
Amen. Yeah.
And so, if we allow it in ourselves as well, there's this sense of how can we be in that business world, but just do it differently. And I think it's what I love about you, and it's what I think together we can hold each other accountable to.
Yeah, thank you.
But I would not shy away from that challenge. I think, look, someone comes buying a stove. I mean, it's a commodity. They're purchasing with their hard-earned money a device. But a device can be an avenue into a deeper spiritual reality. I mean, we learn this, in Seminary 101. Like, you have rituals, and those rituals need elemental things like water and bread and rocks and wood, and these elemental things, if honored well, even bought and sold well, can become practices that give us back rituals that give us back our lives, right? Yeah. And so taking seriously the incarnate life, taking seriously the mechanism of money, the difficulties of business, the agony of work and labor, honoring those for what they are helps us. It doesn't take us away from our spiritual yearnings. If we do it well, it helps us fulfill those spiritual yearnings. So don't shy away from it. It's not just that. I just hate it. It's the failure of commodification in our culture, that it's about money. Yeah. Because that's not what it's about. What you're seeking is a balanced, integrated life where you can be honored for the normal work of everyday living. And that needs to be we need to do that. All right, so random stories. Yep. So first is it's just a silly story. I don't know where it fits, but it's hilarious. All right, so as a dad with teenagers, I was just like, I love sauna. I'm going to introduce it to my kids when they're young, all this stuff. But one of the things you don't realize is what an opportunity it is for high school kids, especially as a parent. I taught them to love sauna. They grew up and started hosting sauna parties for the neighborhood. Yep. Same. So tons of high school kids, instead of being out drinking, partying, whatever, they're over at your sauna having a sauna party. And this just became a thing in Whitefish Bay, my town. half naked kids like running around the neighborhood. I mean, they were fully clothed, so don't worry, it was all appropriate. But like they would run and jump out and scream. Well, so one day I'm there at home and Luke is having an amazing sauna party. Phoebe's there with her friends. They're in the basement. There's maybe 30 kids over. It's at night.
Yeah.
Sound asleep. I wake up and I had this smell coming from the basement. It's coming through the rafters.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I know this smell. I smell it when I go down to the university every day for work. Like, they're smoking pot in the basement. Like, I just know it. And like, not moralism aside, I'm worried that they're going to get cut from their sports team and like they're going to get whatever. There's some real consequences. So I'm like, gear myself up.
Oh yeah.
Hill and I like, we're going to go down and have the conversation, you know, with all the kids. Like, you can't do this in the house. And so I'm all ready. I go downstairs. The basement is empty. There's no one there. And like, I realize like there's 30 kids like packed into my like 6x8 sauna. I don't know how they do it, but I'm like hearing yelling and screaming from the sauna. I'm like, oh my god. So I'm like, this is it. I'm gonna lay down the law. So I open up the door.
Yeah.
And I look in, and there's like 3 Vita birch branches, you know, with leaves, and these high school kids are like beating each other. It's like wham, wham, wham. Yeah. And like the leaves are going everywhere, and the leaves are falling on the sauna stove, and the leaves are getting singed, and there's a little bit of smoke, and that's like going up through the whatever.
Yeah.
And I had this moment where I look and I'm like, there's all this group of like half naked kids, and they're beating each other with branches in my basement. Totally okay.
Yes.
Thank God they're not smoking pot. And I close the door and I start walking up, and I'm like, whoo!
Yeah.
Dodged a bullet as a parent there.
Yeah.
And as I'm walking up the stairs, only then do I realize, what kind of freaking monster am I creating?
Sure.
Like,
Exactly.
This is okay.
Yes. Totally.
And that's good.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
On the kids. So
Yeah.
Grant must have been 10, 8, maybe 6, something around there.
Yeah.
And I told you about off microphone. I was sharing with David about our cabin on Lake Vermilion on an island, about 20 cabins, all connected by a path, and other kids on other cabins. Just one of these magical summer days. And for me, it was a magical summer day because all the kids were down at our place swimming on the raft, dozen of them, 15 maybe. And I hear Grant from the lake, Dad, can you light up the sauna? Sure, Grant. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm a good dad.
So I fire up the sauna stove, and now it's my opportunity to go for a run. About a 3-mile loop around the island in the internal woods and stuff. Yeah. So I get on my running stuff. Kids are in the lake. Go run around. Come all the way around the other side. Cabin is dead quiet. I'm like, Julie's going to get pissed because she wants them to play at our place because they're usually down at the Catholic guys, the Kurtz family.
Absolutely.
8 kids and 4 cousins, and they can outfit a soccer team. So now they're finally down at my place. I'm like, uh-oh, here I am. I went for a run, leaving these kids abandoned, swimming, and now they ran down to the Kurtz cabin, and I got a solo sauna in front of me. So I go up to the cabin, get some water, change into my tracksuit suit thing, and go down, open the hot room door. There's 12 kids lined up, like peas in a pod. I'm like, and I got a picture of it.
Yeah.
One of the more magical sauna moments.
It's like amazing. Like, it's just. Yeah. I love it. All right, we're going out.
Family sauna. We're talking about sauna as it relates to other cultures, and we're talking about sauna meisters. We're talking about hosts. And I was speaking with David, and we're going to catch up with you guys really quick. David was talking about like these public saunas and how North America's ripe is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just so all over the world there's these different versions of public sauna. What I've been blessed to see or witness is a lot of like German, Austrian, but then also the Nordic countries, so Sweden, Denmark, Finland, Norway. Like there are public saunas emerging there, and there are a lot of different styles of doing public sauna, and Americans hardly have any of it.
Exactly.
And there's a big difference between public sauna and like a resort sauna.
Yes.
Like a public sauna is something that in a civic culture you can just walk and you can just go to. some of them in like Germany especially is very famous for their like Freizeitbads, or they're almost like water parks, but they're saunas, right? Like it's, and if you ever want to go to, just go to them. They're like phenomenal. Pay the ticket and go in. I could go on and on describing them. They're crazy.
Yeah,
but they're phenomenal.
Oh, they are. Yeah. Now, I've not been, but I've had Anna Kaiser on the podcast, and she described them very, very well. I forget what town the biggest one is, but
you just I'll let listen to that podcast because I don't want to.
No, but you can share a little bit.
They're just amazing theme parks, roughly, with dozens of different styles of sauna, and you can go have your massive public sauna where everyone's naked and they're rubbing yogurt all over them, and then there's a big sauna meister who's flashing lights and whatever, and it's all normal.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem normal when you're there, especially as an American.
It's true.
But it's totally normal there.
Oh yeah, And what a crazy thing when you think about Germans, like the stereotype is they're very structured, rule driven, conforming, and then you go to this theatrical experience, right? And how about Aufguss? The Italian style Aufguss intrigues me like crazy. How they've taken the German thing and they've turned it into theater.
My version of it is this sort of Norwegian version of like the flashy Norwegian party sauna, like where they have like LED lights, like, and there's a dancer, like it's a ballet like disco dance, and they chuck water on the rocks, and it's like I mean it's just crazy. But back to this public thing, because what is emerging now, which I just love, is these public saunas where a lot of them started as co-ops or artist groups where they have a bunch of different sauna builders who will sort of, like Oslo is a great example now. Yeah. 3-4 years ago, you would go and there'd be one or two public sauna. And if you go there now, there's probably 40 on Oslo Fjord. You know, the story of the genesis, you should have someone on the Sauna Talk do it justice. But basically, it was illegal. They couldn't have their sauna on Oslo Fjord because, it was against the regulations and stuff. And basically the public movement just forced it. And they just kept putting them up. And finally they were like, crap, we got to make some legal structure.
Exactly.
And so eventually what they did is they just had all these beautiful individual artists, architects make these individual saunas. They put them on barges, they link them all together. But what happened was they realized they couldn't tend it all themselves. Like you couldn't just have one person hanging out there. So what they did is they just made a co-op out of it, and they pay one or two people, you pay a fixed fee, and you go and you can just go to any one of these 20 saunas.
Wow.
And they're linked together right on the fjord. People started swimming, and all of a sudden people are like, God, this water, it's not as clean as I want it to be. And so it motivated the public kind of works of environmental justice, sort of urban ecology, where you started to be like, can we get the laws to make the water better here? Well, we couldn't pass the laws. Well, all of a sudden people were swimming, and then they're like, well, crap, the laws have got to be better here. And they found that it unlocked politically some of the need for environmental consciousness, because one of the bottlenecks was people weren't motivated enough to change. But after they went swimming, they all of a sudden discovered, okay, now I'm motivated enough to change. And so this nexus of art, sauna, environmental consciousness, civic law, crass politics, it all swarmed together to create a cleaner, livable, more beautiful public environment in the center of a city. So, for example, today, you're in your business, downtown Oslo, you can like walk down, take a sauna, jump in the fjord, put your business suit on, go have your day, and then you're like, I think on the way home I'm going to take another sauna and go for a swim. And there are thousands of people doing that every day in all seasons in the center of not just Oslo, but Helsinki, Copenhagen, Stockholm, Hamburg. It could happen in Minneapolis, Chicago, Milwaukee, Madison, Wisconsin.
So let's unpack that a little bit here, David. Do you really think it's possible? Can this translate from Europe to North America?
I was a part of this Milwaukee Water Commons, is a pastor in Milwaukee for a long time. And one of our biggest things was how do you get people to clean up the Milwaukee River?
Yeah.
Well, we started hosting these public sport events in the Milwaukee River so that people would play next to the water. You couldn't motivate people politically to change water policy in Milwaukee if they didn't have some playful engagement with it.
Sorry,
no, it's awesome.
You're a madman with the heat, David.
You're
acclimated.
I'm all in. If you didn't have that tactile embracing of the water, you would never get people to motivated to do the political change necessary to protect it.
Agreed. Yep.
You had to have not a commodified relationship with the water, you had to have a personal relationship with the water. This sauna does that. And so I've seen it start. And I do absolutely believe that it's possible here. And who doesn't want to, go down to, Lake Harriet and jump in here in Minneapolis? Who doesn't want to jump in Lake Mendota in Madison? Who doesn't want to have a relationship with the Milwaukee River in Milwaukee, or go down to Chicago River and not just color it green, but actually have it be livable, sustainable water that you can swim in? And the sauna allows us to immerse ourselves in it.
Beautiful. And do it year round.
Well, right, because it allows you to love that water in March or in January or in a beautiful day in the middle of summer when all of us feel normal.
That's great.
It just you learn. Today is a day that sucks outside, but it's a gorgeous day, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's sitting outside with the steam billowing just in our own little oasis here in my backyard. And to think that this could happen by the shores of Lake Harriet, or like you say,
but it just
I look at Madison too. To me it's just so ripe when you see the student union there and this big lake.
They have. It's a question of degree. So Madison, where I live now, ton of money building a beautiful, Frank Lloyd Wright designed boathouse going out over Mendota. We're going to connect the university to Monona Lake. it's going to be fantastic. But it's all commodified, distanced. I have my boat and I have to be in my boat, or I'm not, or I have to be what really connects us is jumping in.
Absolutely.
It's like what you've said a bunch of times, you haven't gone to the cabin until you're jumped in the lake.
That's it.
Right?
You haven't arrived till you jump in.
Until you jumped in. Right? But that tactile, just completely immersive experience, sauna allows us to do it at a depth that can actually dislodge the political, the ideological. These barriers that are freaking strong in our culture now.
So just devil's advocate, though, back to this question is, we are litigious here in America. We love, it's ironic, we're the land of the free, home of the brave, and a lot of rules, municipal rules of no, no, no. How do we plow through that? When you think about Europe, you would expect it to be flip-flop.
I get it, but it's pretty hard to, if you study history, it's pretty hard to find a more litigious, uptight, and rigorously structured culture than Copenhagen of the 1800s. That was pretty rule follower. They broke it open.
Copenhagen said, you know what? This is not. We're gonna embrace this. We're gonna do this, and they did it by embracing these sort of elemental things of their own culture, and how to say this, recognizing that we're not simply cognitive thinking beings or political commodified beings. We are fleshy, like hot and cold beings. And if you don't pay attention in your public advocacy to that incarnate level, how are you going to expect to win?
Love it.
So they embraced everything. I mean, here's a very environmental way of looking at it. They did not leave anything on the table when it came to protecting the water that they felt was so sacred.
Yeah.
And so they said, play is a massive tool in social renovation. Why are we leaving that on the table? And so I get it. Like, we're having a big debate here. I'm immersed in it in Minneapolis right now. Like, how can we have public sauna or not? Like, I'm like, how can we not?
Exactly.
If we are concerned about the, breaking down the walls of division that exist in our city, helping us all deeply honor the creation that's around us, and if we're truly concerned about economic justice and the breaking of commodification and its tyranny on modern public life, why would we think that play and ritual wouldn't be essential to that?
Beautiful.
Like, we got to do it.
Love it. That's such a great context for this movement. I can feel it. It's like the river that's thawing, and you have this dam, and it's just ready to roll, isn't it? Let's talk about sauna. Let's talk about sauna in other countries real quick. How's the heat? How do you like it?
More.
Okay. He's a madman, let me tell you guys. I'm tempering it down so we get long hot rounds so we can chat with you guys. So I just tuned it up a little bit. We're getting a little hotter in here. In the meantime, we talked a little bit about the different styles of sauna. I had on Sauna Talk yesterday from the Japanese Sauna Association. We talked with him about the difference of Japanese sauna culture, which is massive.
It is.
It
is.
In America, like in Japan, this would be faux pas, the fact that we're talking on the sauna bench. Unless it's your own, well, maybe this would be okay, but private saunas aren't as prevalent. So in the public sauna realm, it's very respectful, very quiet, especially if there's other people in the sauna you don't know, kind of thing. And they love it hot, he's telling me, 190, 200, and drier.
Right.
And then we talk about the Finnish sauna, you and I were chatting about, and I love that style of someone enters the hot room, and they ask, would you like steam?
Yeah.
I love that.
I know. You're like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, they hit it, and then they come sit down.
Yeah, I know.
And it's a free flow, right? When you're hot, you leave. When you're cold, you come in. There isn't that Aufguss style where we all come in and leave together. And I think, just to riff on that, the Native American Sweat Lodge, and then the whole Mayan Temazcal is about this group thing with a shaman and leading the charge, so you're all doing this as one kind of a thing. Do you like the free flow like we're doing?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's my tradition, and it's what I'm most comfortable with. But look, I've been amazed, and I'm intrigued, I guess, to learn more about the more ritualized public sauna traditions.
Yeah.
I use them to great effect, in the spiritual community.
Yeah.
My youth groups and men's and women's groups, like we would do, and just all groups, not just men's and women's groups, like gender fluid groups, like whatever we want. Like we would use these rituals to catalyze deeper conversation. But I mean, look, this is a challenge. Like all of us, knowing who you are, what tradition you come from, is part of the story. It's also then a curiosity about the tradition that you don't know. And but you need a device, like one of my favorite theologians is Hartmut Rosa. He's German, and he says that one of the deepest sort of scarcities in our modern time is that we are alienated from our world because of the accelerated pace of life. Things move so fast, it leads to a alienation or a distance from experience that all of us feel as anxiety or as sadness or sometimes as anger. And he's like, the cure for that is resonance. But what helps us resonate more deeply? I mean, certainly a friendship. I appreciate you so much, Glenn, because friendship matters. But it's also, a lot of times it takes devices, things, to help us resonate when we have lost our way. And that's why I love this public sauna thing. Yeah. Because the problem with modern American culture is not simply ideology or words. I mean, it's the scarcity of public practices where we could then be re-knit together.
Yeah.
And just
a final question for that, and it may be a nice place for us to pause. Sauna Talk 1.0. David Dragseth, CEO, co-owner, is that right? Owner,
right. Yeah.
Owner, Superior Saunas, Ashland, Wisconsin. I'm putting you on the spot. Last question for you. Is sauna a church?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I'm a Lutheran, so I love the theological tradition of Luther. And Luther was very clear to say that religious institutions are people-made institutions that are fundamentally flawed. They do not hold holiness because they're a church. They hold holiness because God or the Spirit or the greater purpose, whatever word you have, chooses to dwell and show up in these places. And a church can be idolatrous, it can be against everything that's holy. But sauna is a device, it's a thing, and it is, God only shows up to us in things, in means. And so if you give up things, here's this grand temptation, if you give up the world, you're just floating through as a pilgrim until you're home somewhere else. And that is not the way I want to live.
Beautiful.
And so, sauna is one example of the grounding that can happen if we allow that truth of thingness to speak to us. And I mean, ultimately, it's not just about the sauna, it's about our bodies themselves. Do we trust that this broken down, decrepit, yet beautiful physical body can still hold grace? Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. David, it's been a pleasure having you on Sauna Talk.
It's been a pleasure. Take care.